Hey everyone, what's up? It's Mr. Sly coming at you once again with another cooking video. So what we're going to do today, I'm going to show you guys how to make steak. All right. So I have some things over here that I'm finally prepared to show you guys, as opposed to trying to cut things and pull things out of the fridge while I'm cooking for you guys. Another cool thing is I bought me a little tripod for my phone, so I don't have to do things with one hand now. So I'm going to go ahead and mount this so you guys can see what I'm doing over here with tonight's dinner, okay? So give me a second as I mount my phone onto the tripod and I set it up and adjust the angle for you guys. So it's going to make things a lot easier for me. All right, there we go, okay? So let's put this a little bit closer here. Going to adjust so that you guys can see what I am doing. Seems to be as far as it can go. Okay, so yep, that's as far as it's gonna go. Okay, that's fine. However, let me go ahead and do this. So you see all of this right here, all of this fat that's on the steak, I'm going to cut that off, but I'm not going to throw it away. Okay, we're going to use that for flavor. All right, so hopefully this is good enough here. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to cut all of this off. That was already cut when I opened the package. Now don't forget the vegetables over here to the side and your meats. And even if you're eating fruit, don't forget to rinse all that stuff. With your meats, you have to pat it dry with a paper towel, because you don't want to cook your meat with all that excess water that you just rinsed off, okay? So you want to check both sides to make sure that you're cutting as much off of the fat as possible. A lot of people like to cook the fat without removing it from the steak. That's fine. That's your preference if you want to. But I like to go ahead and try to cut off as much of it as possible, because I don't like to later on bite into it. So this is pretty tough right here. So yeah, it's not coming off really easy here. So let me come this way, turn it around, and then cut from this side here. Another thing that I like to do with my steak, guys, I like to cook it all the way. I don't like these, oh, you just cook it on one side for 30 seconds and you flip it over for another 30 seconds and it's done. I don't like any red inside my steaks, okay? That's just gross. Like, I don't want to bite into a steak and you still have all this blood that comes out. All right, so this isn't going very well. It's not cutting the way I would like it. Maybe I have the wrong knife, who knows? But it's okay. I'm getting there. There we go. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to come over here to my stove and I'm going to turn it on low. All right, I already have the pan on the stove, but I'm just going to go ahead and turn it on low so that way I can kind of sort of start heating up. And a lot of people like to use spray or steaks or oil for their steaks. I'm just going to use butter, all right? Butter actually gives it a really good flavor, a really rich flavor. A lot of people do not give butter credit when it comes to trying to cook steaks. So I am not going to use this whole block of butter. That's way too much. I'm just going to cut a slice off. There we go. And that should be good enough. And I'm going to drop it over here in the pan. Okay, so let me grab my camera over here so you guys can see what I'm doing. There we go. My camera skills are a little bit better now. And then I'm just going to kind of sort of mix it around into the pan. Give it a good little, give the pan a good coating of the butter so that way the steak just doesn't stick to the pan. All right, so we're going to put our butter away off to the side. Now with the steak, don't forget that I like to season. I like to use a little seasoning mixture that I have created. Salt, pepper, onion powder, turmeric, oregano, and Mrs. Dash. So I'm just going to kind of sort of sprinkle some of my spice mixture around. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a clove, a garlic clove, okay? I'm going to smash it. And then I'm just going to remove the skin. That's all I have to do, all right? So I'm going to get rid of that. Now, I'm not going to do anything else with the garlic, okay? It's just going to go like that. I'm not going to chop it. You know, it just kind of sort of broke in half in a couple of pieces. And I'm just going to throw that in over here to the pan. So that way it can kind of sort of start getting the flavor of the garlic with the butter. And then I'm also going to get some onion, some cebolla. And I'm going to cut a slice. There we go. Not a full slice, but I don't know how to cut, so that's okay. And then I'm just going to cut it in half. And I'm also going to put this onion into the pan so that the steak can get a little bit of an onion flavor. All right, there we go. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some green onion. All right. With the green onion, you want to cut off the end where it grew out of the ground. And then you're also going to want to cut off the ends on the other side. Now, if you are making anything with green onion, normally you would dice it up, right? Well, not this one. We're just going to leave it like this. I'm going to break it in half, though. And then I'm going to throw that into the pan as well so that can get the flavor for the steak. All right? So I'm just going to kind of sort of mix that up a little bit. Saute it. It's called sauteing. So I'm just going to saute that a little bit. While it's doing that, I'm going to throw some potatoes in with my steak, but not to fry. I'll show you guys what I'm going to do. All right. So I'm going to cut this in chunks. Cut the potato in half. And then cut on either side. And then I'm going to cut it in half again. And then in chunks, right? So you just cut it, the half into half. And then the other side as well. You cut the half into half. Okay? All right, and there we go. And if you have some really big chunks, you can kind of sort of cut those in half or kind of cut those, break that down a little bit. Now you hear the frying pan going off, right? It's kind of sort of sizzling. So that means that everything's sauteing. Let me kind of sort of mix everything a little bit into the pan. There we go. Get it a little. Okay, let's come back to our potato. And you guys have to figure out how much butter you guys actually want to use, okay? You don't have to use a lot, but I suggest that you use enough. I'm going to grab another potato over here. Let's put my onion back on the plate. There we go. Let's make some space on my cutting board, on my tablita. And then I'm going to cut it in half again. And then again in half. There we go. And then cut the other half. So now you hear the onions and the garlic pretty much frying up in the pan. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, since we hear that kind of sort of going off, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my steak into the frying pan on top of everything, okay? So they can kind of sort of get the flavor. There we go. And then I'm going to come back here and I'm going to get my spice and I'm going to coat the other side. Okay? Now all we're going to do with the steak, we're not going to cook it on the stovetop. I'll show you what we're going to do, but all we're going to do with the steak is we're going to fry the sides, okay? We're just going to kind of let it get brown. It's called a browning. We're just going to brown the steak, but we will cook it fully. I will show you exactly what we are going to do, okay? All right, so our potatoes are good. And it's mixed in with the fat of the steak, all right? So I'm just going to kind of sort of press down on it. I have a fork right here, cooking fork, that I'm going to use. Oh, this is so much better with the tripod I have. All right, so I'm just going to kind of press down, kind of sort of let all of that sear Okay. Kind of sort of spread the spices. If you see it's all bunched up on one side, or in one spot, I should say. Okay, and you see like the butter over here, and you see the onions, and I have the green onions underneath. So let's turn it over a little bit just to check it out. Oh yeah, that's pretty good, but we're still gonna leave it for a little while. All right. Okay, let's check it again. Okay, that looks okay. You see there's still a little bit of red right there, but that's all right, okay? We don't want it to burn, we don't want it to char, just to kind of sort of get a good brown mixture. Now I have the stove, if you guys can see, on low. I don't have it very high, okay? So if you have a gas stove like I do, you guys just want to get it on low, because a skillet, an iron skillet, it gets really hot really fast, and it's really good to cook on because it kind of sort of gives you it cooks everything pretty evenly. So there we go. So now that side is pretty brown. You can see it's got some onions on here, so I'm going to grab some green onion and put it on top, and grab some more onions over here, put it on top. Hoping my camera skills are okay for you guys. I should get like a mount up there on the ceiling or something, huh? Put my camera up there, shoot straight down, be all professional like the cooking channel, right? All right, I was thinking about a title for these videos, guys. I was thinking about Buen provecho. Buen provecho means bon appetit or enjoy in Spanish. Enjoy your meal. So I was thinking about that. I'll flip it over one more time. Okay, so there's some garlic right there. So that's a good char. Okay, so now I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna put this down. Oh, I just dropped my fork. Let me pick that up really quick. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna pick up the cutting board, and I'm gonna bring everything over here. All right, so let's see, can you guys see the frying pan? Yes, you can. All right, and then I'm just going to slide everything into the frying pan, potatoes and all right? Okay, just kind of sort of coat everything, and you're gonna let the potatoes cook. But as I said, we're not going to fry the steak fully. I'll show you what we're going to do in a little bit. Now, I really like potatoes. They are my second favorite vegetable. But if you guys also remember, I said that my first favorite vegetable are mushrooms. So I'm going to use mushrooms. I'm going to bring this over here. Now, I know that these mushrooms have already been washed and cleaned because they were sliced before they were packaged, before I picked them up at the store. So I don't have to worry about cleaning these, okay? You guys can't see that, can't you? There we go. Got to find a better way how to do all this on my phone, because I have to flip the screen around on my phone in order to see exactly what I'm doing. All right, so then I'm going to come over here, and then I'm just kind of sort of drop some mushrooms in. Again, you guys can use as much as you want, as many potatoes as you want, as many mushrooms as you want. Bell peppers, if you guys want to use bell peppers. Okay. All right. So since I dropped my cooking fork, I'm just going to grab a regular fork. I'm just going to kind of sort of spread everything apart, spread everything around. Okay, now you can really hear the crackle and the sizzle going on. All right. So let's kind of sort of brush everything away. Let us check our steak on the other side. All right, you see now it's a little bit brown on that side right there, right? So this was the second side that we put it on. So we're going to leave everything like that, okay? Make sure everything is inside your pan. And then what we are going to do is we are going to cover it. And now we are actually going to put it in the oven A lot of people don't realize that you can cook steak in the oven, but you can, and it turns out really good. All you have to do is just start cooking the steak on the stove in your frying pan and finish it in the oven, okay? So I already have my oven set at 350 degrees. Don't forget to preheat your oven. It's open up, and I forgot to check the rack. The rack is a little bit lower, so you want the rack to be in the middle as possible, okay? Right in the middle, just like the enchiladas that I showed you guys how to make, okay? So now I'm gonna go ahead and put our steak, the whole thing, just like that, into the oven. The good thing about cooking with a cast iron pan is that you can stick it in the oven, all right? So we're gonna turn off our stove. Okay, all right, so our stove is turned off. Now you wanna leave the steak in there for at least 20 minutes, okay? If you leave it in there for 20 minutes, it's gonna cook up really good. Check it though. When you pull it out after 20 minutes, you have to check to make sure that it's actually cooked and not still raw on the inside, okay? Again, eat your steak however you want. If you do like it a little bit raw, that's up to you, but I don't. So I'm gonna pull it out in a few minutes and I'm gonna check it, okay? So this is gonna be part 1 of the video. I will make part 2 coming up, all right? So I'll see you guys in a little bit.